All right, so mint simple syrup. Really easy, 3 ingredients. All you need is equal parts of sugar and water. So just remember, if you're going to make a cup of simple syrup, you pretty much are going to use a half cup each of water and sugar. Now in my case, I'm using organic cane sugar, which has like a little tint to it. I'm making it for Mint Juleps, so the slightly brown color of the simple syrup that's going to end up isn't going to be a big deal. If you're making a simple syrup that's for a drink that you want to have clear or not darken the color at all, because the simple syrup will turn out slightly, khaki colored, then use refined sugar. I find overall using these kinds of sugars, they give a little more of a molasses caramelly flavor to the syrup, which I kind of enjoy, so I use that. Anyway, so what you do is you take that and you bring it to a boil, and you might stir it a little bit to integrate it as it's getting closer to the boil. And once it comes to a boil, you simmer it, you lower the heat down to simmer, and you simmer for 1 minute so it's fully dissolved. So while that's going on, I'm going to catch up on some of my reading. All right, so back again. Simmering has gone on now for a full minute. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on the mint portion. So at this point, we're going to turn off the heat. And I've got some fresh mint that I just cut out of the backyard. If you don't have mint around, you of course can buy some, but if you like to do this often, I suggest buying a mint plant, putting out back. It's pretty low maintenance. Most people say it grows like a weed, so you want to pot it instead of just plant it free, because it might go all over the place. Anyway, so what you want to do is you want to take off, wash this, and then you want to put just the leaves into the simple syrup. And the reason for just the leaves and not the stem is the stem will, while you still might go, that stem still smells pretty minty too. Wouldn't that just help more? And since, we're not going to actually eat it, why don't we put it in? But actually, the stem has a lot of bitterness in it, which you don't get from the leaves, which have primarily the sweet mint kind of flavor. So, and that's what you're going for in the syrup. You don't want to have bitterness. So you put the leaves in, and then if they, most of the recipes you might see are saying like 12 leaves or 20 leaves or whatever. Leaves are in various sizes. I've got leaves here that are the size of like a $50 coin, and some of these little ones are smaller than, they're smaller than a dime or a halfpenny if you've ever seen one of those. So basically, I personally don't think you can have a little too much mint in the simple syrup. If anything, that means maybe use a little less simple syrup and your batch goes a little longer or a little further. And so for me, I usually use somewhere around 30 to 30 leaves, and I don't count these little ones that I throw in at all. So then once you've got all your leaves in there, then what you're going to do is very simple. All I do is I take my spoon that I stirred a little bit, and I just kind of dunk to make sure the leaves go under the surface. And then you just wait 30 minutes. And you let that steep like that for 30 minutes. So in case you were wondering, that earlier piece took maybe 5 minutes. But now I'm actually going to really make some progress in my book here, and then I'll be back. All right, so here we are, about 30 minutes later. And next step is pretty simple. You're just going to strain this. I choose a fine wire strainer and a bowl. And the main reason is what will happen is, the leaves will break down a little bit, so you need to make sure you get them all out. And then I just would let this beautiful syrup, cool down completely to room temperature. And then you put it in something like a jar, or if you have one, a little squeezy bottle. This is one of the other syrups I've made in the past. And so it's easy and it's convenient. And this will keep in your refrigerator for about a week. But a trick is if you add about a teaspoon per cup of simple syrup. Per cup of simple syrup, add 1 teaspoon of 80 proof or higher, like vodka. I choose that because it's like low flavor level. It will increase the storage life of your simple syrup for up to a month. So if you're one of those people who won't be using this, so quickly, you can increase the shelf life in your refrigerator by just adding a little bit of alcohol to the mixture. Of course, you don't cook it off. You put it in after this is cool. Anyway, mint simple syrup. Cheers.